Welcome to episode 231, Elon Musk, from Rocket Man to Electric Car, 2003 to 2018. This is an outline of episode 231. Recap of Elon Musk, the first 31 years. First, he had a turbulent childhood. His parents divorced. He was bullied and beaten up in high school for being a nerd. He made his first fortune in internet journalism. He made his second fortune in internet finance. In 2002, the same year he sold PayPal and pocketed $180 million, he started SpaceX. Elon Musk would sink $100 million into SpaceX.
It's a much more exciting, inspiring future if we're out there exploring the stars, as opposed to a future where we are forever confined to Earth. I was thinking, well, I wonder when we're going to Mars. You know, when is NASA going to go to Mars? And I went to the NASA website, and there was no plan to go to Mars. I actually traveled to Russia 3 times to look at buying a refurbished ICBM without the nuke, and I came to the conclusion that the thing that was really holding us back from making much more progress in space was really that rockets had not evolved since the 60s. I had to come up with lower-cost ways to produce engines, the primary structure, the electronics, do the launch operation, as well as run the company with very little overhead. And the sum of inventions in all those areas is what has led us to a roughly 3- to 4-fold improvement over the cost of other rockets in the United States. So SpaceX was the first purely commercial ground-up development to reach orbit.
The first successful launch at SpaceX was an incredibly emotional time.
Falcon 9 Stage 2 and the Dragon capsule are now in orbit around the Earth.
Next, in April 2004, at the age of 33, he invested $6 million into Tesla. This turned out to be his most important investment because in 2018, Tesla is the bulk of Musk's fortune.
He talked about Silicon Valley smarts being able to show Detroit how to do something that Detroit didn't think was possible.
It's batteries, it's drive electronics, it's electric motors. Those are skills that are present in Silicon Valley and not present
in April 2004, Musk helped launch Tesla with $6.3 million of his own money. It was the first auto industry startup in decades, and by 2007, Tesla was running out of money fast. No one wanted to step up to save the unproven automobile startup. Elon Musk had to take the leap alone.
We had to make some pretty dramatic changes. I essentially recapitalized the business and invested about twice what we'd originally expected.
In the meantime, the first 3 launches of his SpaceX rockets failed.
Again failed to get a rocket into orbit.
The first launch didn't get very far, got about a minute up, and then there was an engine fire, and that was it. The second flight actually did make it to space, but not to orbit. And then also with Flight 3, we didn't get all the way to orbit.
He started saying, I've got enough money for 3 cracks at it. He put $100 million of his own money, and he sort of hinted at the idea that after 3, if he didn't make it, it would be over. SpaceX would die.
Musk burned through the $100 million he had sunk into SpaceX.
In 2006, he funded SolarCity to be run by his 2 cousins, Lyndon Riff and Peter Riff.
And so SolarCity is about sustainable energy creation, whereas Tesla is about sustainable energy consumption.
32-year-old Elon Musk had his next big idea at his family's annual visit to Burning Man, the counterculture desert happening. Although still fascinated by rockets and fast cars, he wanted to find a way to end Earth's addiction to fossil fuels.
I was the one that suggested the idea of going into the solar power arena to Lyndon and Peter Rive, my cousins.
He basically hands this idea to his cousins.
In the area of solar cell installation for homeowners, you can dramatically consolidate an industry that's currently a bunch of mom and pop shops. So what SolarCity did was they said, how about no money down? You want solar cells? We'll just put them in. You don't pay a cent. Right? It's like leasing a car, but even better. So it's a fascinating business model where in the long term they may become the largest energy generator in America off all of these rooftops.
And the near-death experience in 2008.
Anticipate that we would have the worst economic climate since the Great Depression.
As 2008 drew to a close, Elon Musk faced the worst crisis of his career. All 3 of his companies appeared to be in free fall.
The worst point was probably just the weekend before Christmas in 2008. We had the economic tsunami take place and made things even worse. If it wasn't needed, we had to shut it down and just figure out how do we get through this dark period and not go bankrupt.
What saved Elon Musk's three companies? Obama, Mercedes-Benz. Obama loans that would total more than $1.6 billion from NASA for SpaceX, and later $90 million investment from Mercedes-Benz for Tesla.
But to build it, he knew he needed a piece of the U.S. government's new $7.5 billion loan program to support alternative energy vehicles.
Disproportionately bad for cars. I mean, General Motors went bankrupt. I mean, General effing Motors, you know?
Musk was in the fight of his life.
We had maybe about a week's worth of cash in the bank, or less, and there was just very little time left in the year to resolve these things. I mean, there were like 2 or 3 business days left in the year.
And the future of SpaceX was finally taking off.
We have liftoff.
The fourth attempt to launch the Falcon 1 was a huge success. And 3 months later, NASA rewarded SpaceX with a $1.6 billion contract to resupply the International Space Station. But Musk had no time to celebrate. Tesla was on the verge of financial disaster.
I had to make a choice then that either I took all of the capital that I had left from the sale of PayPal to eBay and invest that in Tesla, or Tesla would die. Thankfully, a good week, but definitely took its toll from a mental strain standpoint. I think I've mentally just burned out a few circuits.
Just after his emergency cash infusion came the news they desperately needed. A $40 million deal with Daimler for smart car batteries. Daimler later added $50 million for 10% of the company.
And Elon Musk repaid the Obama Tesla loan with interest 9 years ahead of schedule.
It really feels good to have repaid the U.S. taxpayer. That's really what's important here. And we didn't just repay the principal, we actually repaid it with interest and a bonus payment. So ultimately the U.S. taxpayer actually made a profit of over $20 million on this loan.
Tesla repaid the loan 9 years ahead of schedule.
What have I learned today? First, how Elon Musk started or founded 3 companies, SpaceX, Tesla, and SolarCity, survived many near-death experiences and succeeded. Second, in 2016, SolarCity was acquired by Tesla Motor. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave your questions and comments below. My next video will be Elon Musk, 10 lessons. Wishing everyone peace and prosperity.